the biggest hurdle with the 1% individuals and people at the top of the game is, in order to get there, you have to constantly be flirting with failure, and you have to fall in love with failure almost. I mean, in the gym alone, if I don't play with failure, I do not win. I will not reach my goals if I don't consistently fail. So for those that have pushed themselves, have achieved, say you reach the pinnacle of your professional career, well, that's going to be a hurdle in and of itself, because you're going to go, all right, well, now what? Hype or legit? Game changing or garbage?
This is What's Hot and What's Not, where we put today's biggest self-help trends under the microscope.
All right, let's break this one down.
All right, what's hot or what's not?
There's a lot of that out there.
We're going to start with a banger.
Uh-oh.
Politics.
My favorite.
More specifically, the political divide.
Yes. So do I get to say whether or not it's hot or not?
Yeah.
It's not. 100% not hot. It's ridiculous. I've watched some of the most wackadoo shit come out in the last several years that just makes no sense.
Yeah.
I have also sat down with people from both sides of the aisle and have very close friends on both sides of the aisle that would get along, but have for some reason built this artificial wall of bullshit in between, and it ruins the relationship. Mm-hmm. I think we're just being clowned, man. We're just being clowned by a bunch of people with a bunch of money that want to keep us arguing with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a total bullshit lie that ruins relationships and families and sucks.
Well, and what I would say is our president has been elected, much like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
When we had a different president elected. The key in all of this is acceptance. We have to accept the reality of the situation, and we have to choose what kind of path we want to take moving forward. Do we want to take a path of anger and resistance and non-acceptance, or do we want to accept it, control what we can control in our own lives, and try to find some peace in all of it?
Because at the end of the day, the way to change anything isn't by throwing your hands in the air and screaming and burning things. If you don't like it, you have to start from home. You have to switch the way the home is built and the way the next generation functions. That's just the way it works. You cannot muscle your way through things. Both sides, you can't muscle your way through things.
Yeah.
If you do, you might get a little headway, but the repercussions are awful. We're currently dealing with the repercussions of political muscling. Mm-hmm. And it's just sad. I've got friends, like I said, on both sides of the aisle that are fantastic fucking people that I adore and want to spend a bunch of time around. But if we see both sets in a coffee house, I know that if I sit down with either of my other friends, I'm going to get heat. And it just makes no sense because I know they would get along.
Yeah.
But for some reason, we just don't allow it to happen.
So the question I think we can ask each other is, are we choosing a path of positivity or are we choosing a path of negativity? Because one is only going to bring you mental distress.
Well, I do know for a fact that if you can sit down and openly have a conversation with somebody and try to learn about them as an individual, most of the time you're going to find out that person is actually more like you than not. Mm-hmm. And if they're more like you than not, that's okay, man. If there's a little bit of differentiating views, mm-hmm. and that's okay. You don't want it to have everybody be the same. It'd be boring as shit.
Well, and you have to understand that if you are seeking to win an argument, that means there's going to have to be a loser.
Yeah.
And that is not how we build relationships. You can't build a relationship on the foundation that the person you're meeting with is a loser and you're a winner. You have to build a relationship on wanting to understand and be understood And that truly is where I think we're missing each other as a society right now. And I think if we could practice a little bit more of wanting to understand the other person, it would result in far less anger and resentment and bitterness towards opposing viewpoints.
Yeah. I just think it's total bullshit. It's a 100% to start the hot or not, far end on the not hot.
Yeah, it's not hot.
Not at all. I'm Chris.
And I'm Kylie.
Welcome to the 1%, where small shifts create big wins.
We're redefining resilience for high performers, 1% at a time, so you can keep advancing, no matter what.
Well, welcome to the new show.
Welcome to the 1%.
The mother truckin' 1%.
What is the 1%?
It's the opposite of the 99. It's the best. It's the best of.
I mean, that is very subjective.
Yeah.
It's the best by our definition.
It's the best version of yourself in the thing that you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. And when I think about what the 1% is, it's the top 1% of their craft, of their trade, of their role. And if you think about it, we all wear a lot of hats. You're a coach. You're also a dad. You're also a husband almost.
Currently.
I mean, you pretty much are.
Title changes. Work doesn't.
Yeah. You've earned the title of husband already.
Yeah, girl. You've allowed me to step into that role. But also like dog dad and leader and speaker and all those things.
Yeah. And you got to think, like, if you're going to do all these things, are you going to do them to the best of your abilities, or are you going to be average?
And it's an interesting question because each of those quote unquote best of the abilities looks different.
Totally.
So
you get to define what it means to be the 1% in your life.
Well, so here we go.
Yeah.
The 1%.
So what are the characteristics of the 1%? So if we're talking about high performers, that's really what we're talking about when it comes to the 1%. This is a podcast for high performers.
Yeah, it's not for the I can't get up out of bed in the morning or I'm struggling to do X, Y, and Z normal daily nominal tasks. Mm-hmm. It's for the people that have refined all of those and that are sitting in a C-suite office staring at a phenomenal window view saying, well, now what? It's actually a normal conversation to me to have, or for us to have, is, well, now what do I do? You know, I've achieved top end in sports, top end in the game. So now where do I go? Those are the people we're speaking to.
And it's really operating at an elite level. It's doing what most people will not do to be successful. And yes, we all get to define success in whatever way we see fit. But it is practicing uncommon discipline, drive, resilience, focus. And it's setting standards that are far above what the average person sets for themselves.
So there's some interesting attributes to people that are at the 1% or are part of the 1%. One of the ones that I think is absolutely fascinating is the concept that you haven't made it yet. That you're constantly, you need more. You gotta push harder, right? I can always squeeze a little bit more out. You look at any top end athletes, the top end of top end generally show up to the gym first and leave the gym last. They show up to training events first, hours before everybody else, do uncommon training routines, push themselves harder. Jerry Rice used to catch bricks in training. Bricks. Made no sense, but he did it and lasted 20 plus years in the NFL.
That's wild.
Bricks. If you would ask any trainer, including me, if catching bricks is a good idea, I'd say, yeah, probably not, bud. Risk versus reward ratio's pretty off. But because this guy knew that he needed to be the best, he pushed himself physically, mentally, and emotionally constantly. Does it hurt? Yeah. Welcome to the fucking club, man. This is what it's like to be at the top.
It means you're choosing discomfort over ease.
Mm-hmm.
You could always choose ease. We live in a life of convenience and comfort. So it's very easy to just DoorDash your way through dinners and skip the gym because you're so tired and so busy. And
yeah, all you gotta do is pick up your feet. That's it. Just stop. You're normal. I always think it's hilarious when I hear people saying things, especially children, since I have little girls, I just want to be normal. Oh, congratulations, you're there. Everybody's normal. Normal just means the lack of activity. It's the lack of drive. You're just okay with okay. The 1%ers, the people we're talking to, are the people that disgusts them. Mm-hmm. The ones that look at that and go, I cannot do that because it physically repulses me to just sit and exist.
yeah.
Yeah, those are the people that I can't stand not being around. I love those people.
Yeah. Totally. They give life.
Yeah, because you're getting the most out of it.
Yeah. And I think that's really another characteristic is leading yourself. When no one else is watching, paying attention, or pushing you or motivating you to do so. Like, you don't need me to tell you to go to the gym.
No.
You have like this itch inside of you where if you aren't in the gym, you start to get, well, you're not pleasant. You're very cranky.
Oh, I know. Well, yeah, I know. I get it.
And as difficult and challenging as it is for me, I've very consistently made the gym a priority for the last however many. I mean, really, I think I really got serious about it right after college when I gained a bunch of weight because my lifestyle was shit and I was making terrible choices from a health perspective, and realized like I have to take care of myself because this is going in a direction that I don't want it to go.
Yeah. And I think one of the things we want to get across with this podcast, and part of the reason we made this switch, is we want to let those 1%ers know it's okay to be a little bit of a freak. It's okay to be the 1%. It's okay for people to look at you and go, why? Why are you doing this? Why are you waking up early and going on your runs? Why are you waking up early to make sure you get your presentation refined to the point that you like it? It's okay to push yourself. You've got one shot at this life. And if you're not motivating yourself to get it done, you're toast, bud. Everybody's worried about themselves. Mm-hmm. You are the only person that's going to save you and make you reach the pinnacle of your performance. So we want to help you refine that. We want to help you be better. And we want to give you the motivation and clearance to say it's okay. Keep pushing, bud. Keep refining, keep pushing yourself past where you think you can go and live in that little bit of uncomfort.
Well, and I think the 1%ers know that you cannot expect to practice a new behavior or do something different one or two times and see immediate results. The 1%ers know delayed gratification is a major part of the game, and you require more effort than what output is going to give you. And so you have to mentally have the fortitude to continue to put forth the effort in order to have the delayed gratification, because the reward for your habits sometimes takes a while.
Years.
Right.
Yeah.
You start a new business. Don't expect people just because you open your doors, just because, we paid what, $9,000 for a sign for the outside of our office. It's not like floods of people came in just because we put the sign up.
Yeah.
people slowly but surely are hearing about us, and slowly but surely, because of the efforts we're putting forth to make our business known, we're getting more and more clients every single day. Mm-hmm. It doesn't happen with hoping. It happens with effort and intentional action. And so I think one of the other big things is understanding that your results are not instant.
Yeah. I think the biggest hurdle with the 1% individuals and people at the top of the game is, in order to get there, you have to constantly be flirting with failure, and you have to fall in love with failure almost. I mean, in the gym alone, if I don't play with failure, I do not win. I will not reach my goals if I don't consistently fail. So for those that have pushed themselves, have achieved, say you reached the pinnacle of your professional career, well, that's going to be a hurdle in and of itself, because you're going to go, all right, well, now what? Because I'm constantly focused on failure. When you finally achieve the thing that you're going for, one, you're just going to constantly be in that loop of looking for failure and refinement, which is okay if we're not outcome focused. If we're outcome focused once I reach this, I've arrived. The world is now my oyster. That's not how this works. We need to, and the number one reason I love this podcast is teaching people how to fall in love with the process. Mm-hmm. If you can fall in love with the process of refinement and the process of becoming better, goals and achievements are just mile markers up the mountain. We want you to be on fire for the process of refinement. That way you turn around 10 years from now and you're miles ahead of where you thought you were going to arrive. And you're just consistently becoming better and happier and more fulfilled because your process is becoming better.
Well, and you have to look at your growth as something worth investing in. Growth doesn't happen arbitrarily.
No, it can't. It's a cost. That's why I love fitness so much. It is a cost to the system to carry more muscle. So you have to convince it that the cost is going to remove potential pain and injury. The cost is worth it.
Yeah.
So carrying 50 extra pounds of muscle is a 50 extra pounds of cost. But the stimulus has to be so high that it goes, okay, this is worth the cost. Mm-hmm. So is your process worth the cost of the effort? How do we measure that? What do we do?
Well, and sometimes you don't have all the answers yourself. I mean, investing in your growth sometimes means investing in resources also. I think that's the one thing that I have probably sunk a lot of money into over the years is my personal development. And I have hired so many coaches. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on coaching, certifications, programs to develop me, online courses. I mean, you name it, I've done it. And I can tell you right now, it's paid off tremendously because I have expanded my knowledge, my foundation, right? And gained more insight into how it can become more and more efficient in the things that I do on a regular basis. But I can't do it alone. There's no way I would have gotten to this point if I hadn't sought out those resources. So investing in your growth sometimes means financially. It definitely means from a time and effort standpoint. I mean, everyone has access to the internet. Everyone has access to AI now, and AI learning is some of the most advanced learning. I mean, it literally is you downloading ChatGPT and asking it questions. Yeah. You can actually grow by leveraging resources like that and taking control of your outcomes. If you don't know how to deal with a certain person at work, you can't just say, oh, well, I'm not going to grow in my role because so-and-so makes my life awful. No, there's plenty of resources out there available to you to figure out how to better work with colleagues, or figure out how to overcome problems, or figure out how to overcome health issues, or figure out how to, truly overcome just about any sort of setback that you're going to encounter.
So I think the kicker to all of this is personal responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
I have to figure out, no matter what is presented to me in life, my process or my responsibility in the outcome. How do I fix it? If I can't fix it, how do I make the best from this situation? And how do I learn from this situation?
Yep.
Being humble enough to understand that I'm going to constantly be learning. Therefore, I'm never going to arrive at some point where I know everything. I might know a lot about something, but you never know everything.
Yeah.
So if we can keep that in our head as a top performer, keep that in the back of our mind as we go on through life, we never end up being the dictator at work. We never end up being the one that says my way or the highway, that has ruined countless professional careers in all fields. Mm-hmm. Those people are landmines in your way.
Yeah.
To avoid being the landmine to somebody else, we have to be humble enough to learn, to understand we're going to constantly learn, and understand that to be a high performer consistently, we have to be humble. Mm-hmm. We have to learn or be open to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm really excited for this rebrand.
I feel like it turned the personalities up to 11. So get ready.
So we're going to be, over the course of this next season of The 1%, we're going to be talking more about our choices, habits, consistency, health. What else?
Well, we've got some cool breakouts too, like how we're reorganizing this podcast.
Oh yeah, the show flow is going to be epic.
I am ecstatic about it. I need you to explain it because I kind of get long-winded and really excited. So,
so we're going to have a few different episodes. We've talked about this, I think, in our last episode. So you're going to hear some controversial topics that we're going to talk about in the What's Hot or What's Not segment. And then we're also going to give you a 1% challenge during each one of these episodes with Chris and me. So, different segments in our upcoming shows are going to include What's Hot, What's Not. It's going to include the 1% challenge, where we challenge you to take some action. And then we're also going to have the daily gains that are going to be more health focused with Chris.
What?
And then we're also going to play a little game of resilience roulette. And we're going to talk about how you can overcome some of the most common setbacks that we all encounter on an ongoing basis. So stay tuned for a whole lot more.
Big results come from small, intentional actions.
And that's why we're taking on the 1% challenge, a simple, actionable step to get just a little bit better every day.
No excuses, just progress. Let's do it. All right, are you ready for the 1% challenge?
Yes.
What is it?
Our 1% challenge is to limit or stay off of social media. We're all adults here, so you get to choose. I think because some people have to use social media for your business, or maybe you feel like you can't totally cut it out right now, let's take a baby step. Limit. There are plenty of apps, and I'm sure Apple has a setting for this, where you can get notified when you're on social media for so long. Mm-hmm. So leverage something like that. Stay off of social media. Limit yourself to a predetermined by you amount of time.
And hold yourself to it.
And live in real reality, not virtual reality.
Yeah, 7 days. A whole 7 days, Sunday to Sunday. Let's see if you can do it.
Let's go.
That's a wrap for today's episode of The 1%. If you're ready to take your resilience to the next level,
head to odysseyresilience.org to dive deeper into our work, access free resources, and learn how we help high performers redefine resilience.
Thanks for listening. Now go get 1% better.